Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for our Soul Sunday broadcast, which is all about helping you cope. And basically, on Soul Sunday, we're helping you cope with stress. Now, I know a lot of my viewers have been through quite a stressful week this week. I'm thinking, for example, Beth has had a very stressful week this week, and I know that Bernice has had a very stressful week this week. She's learning how to cope with uh, diabetes, and this is over and above the fact that she's busy coping with the loss of a parent. You know, those are big stresses. And then, even if I think about it, what about Jody, who in the last few weeks has got a new to her oven, a new freezer, new furniture, and yes, that's joyful stuff. But you know something? Did you know that good things cause as much stress as bad? Did you know that? And so part of what is really important in our lives is that we take the time to just balance out. And that's what we do every Sunday. Hi, Jody. And I'm saying hi to Jody. And for those of you who might not know Jody, you're new to the broadcast, welcome. Or you're listening in on the replay, just happened to find us, welcome. Dear Mama Sal is a group of people that get together 3 times a week to help us cope with life. We do it together. We have different subjects. Hi there, Rinsky, and hi, Jeannie. And, you know, we handle different subjects, and it's all about coping better. And so one of the things that I wanted to say was, you know, we think that good stuff, you know, is not stressful, but it really is. Jeannie, for example, one of our viewers that just popped in, Jeannie's had a major step forward. She had a terrible thing happen in her life a couple of months ago where her house burnt down. And, you know, she's just had to sign the document or get the document signed and okayed that allows them to demolish what is left of the house so the rebuilding can start. I'm pretty sure that at some level, Jeannie, that is pretty stressful for you. You know, it's like saying goodbye to what's left of your house. I don't know. I tried to think about that, and I thought, well, you know, I think that's has both good ideas about it and some not so good. And so, what I thought I would do is remind you all that part of the way we all help each other coping with life is that we keep honest and we keep telling each other what's going on in our lives, and that we understand that sometimes the good stuff can be pretty stressful too. So, today's topic, we're going to be talking a little bit more about self acceptance. But before I get on to that, I thought I'd do a little experiment with you. If you're ready, are you ready for the skill testing? Um, I want to I want you to be aware of how you're feeling right now. And let me know if you can. And then what I'd like you to do is tell me whether that creates any reaction in you. Actually, I've changed my hairstyle. Oh, pen's running out. Okay. Hi, Isabel. So, oh, so does it change how you're feeling? Yes, Jeannie's just confirming that it's very stressful, this business about her house and tearing it down, what's left of it. But interesting, she's saying that her husband found a wonderful hibiscus plant that she planted last year. And she brought buds to the apartment, and the next day one blossomed. It's funny you should talk about that. Hi there, Sandy. Good to see you. Okay, so Jody's saying the picture made her smile. Did any of you find that as well? And what about if I show you this? Does that have any effect on your being? The reason I'm asking you these questions is if you want to relax, you need to slow your life down just a tad. And also, you need to know how simple it is. If you start looking at smiling faces, if you start seeing flowers that you love. Right. Rinsky saying, I love the peach color. So do I. I just think it's such a pretty color, don't you? And how many of you going, yeah, like, and that's why I wanted to share them with you. And Jeannie's saying, I love roses. I can almost smell them. Well, I can smell them. And you know why? That particular rose doesn't have a big bouquet on it. But I love the smell of roses so much that I decided I was going to get myself some essential oil so I could smell roses whenever I want to. And if the smell of roses has that effect on you, that calming effect, then you might want to think about doing that as well. And what I want to just make sure that you understand is looking after oneself and self-acceptance is really important. I just want to write down this rose oil thing. Is one of the most important things that we can do. And so what I'm going to be doing today is giving you a couple of quotes just while we get started. And then, with your permission, I am going to do a meditation, a small one that you can keep your eyes open, no problem, but just really get everybody relaxed. It was said that there is no greater suffering than to constantly measure yourself and coming up short, except perhaps the realization that your suffering is hurting others. You see, if you understand that when we are constantly judging ourselves unrealistically, then what happens is, hi Gigi, and welcome. What happens when we constantly judge ourselves harshly is we not only punish ourselves, but we punish everybody else around us. Now, I did a major cook-up on the broadcast on Friday lunchtime. And I want to tell you, by the time the broadcast finished, my whole kitchen was an absolute nightmare. To give you some idea, it took me 3 dishwasher loads to get it cleaned up. And I still haven't really got it all sorted out yet. So do you think that I've been judging myself a little bit about what a slob I am? Or, and by the way, I'm busy making bread for the neighborhood. I make bread now for my neighbors and I deliver it on Sundays. But, it's like, do you think that makes a big mess in my kitchen? Yeah, I think so. So will getting angry at myself change anything? No. Does getting sad about it change anything? No. You see, the only thing that's going to get that tidied up is to spend more time tidying it up. See, when you get that realization that the rest of it's just emotion and I need to do something to get that tidied up, because obviously it is affecting my life. And then the self-acceptance part is, hey, Sal, there's a good reason why it's all untidy at the moment. So here's another really nice quote, one that I found that I really liked. Every day I wake up and I ask myself, how can I accept myself and others more fully? Think about that. Interesting. So Jeannie's saying that she gave her husband York a choice whether he wanted hamburgers on buns or a meat pie tonight. And he said meat pie. wonderful idea to give somebody a choice, all right? And, if the choice is I don't know or I don't mind, and you choose. It's always used to amuse me when people said that to me. Oh, I don't know. Well, which would you prefer? I don't know. Well, if you don't know, that's okay. But it's not true, is it? One of the things I noticed when it's actually not true. They do have a preference. They just, for some reason, don't wish to voice it. And if they don't want to wish to voice it, that's their right. And if I can just let go of needing them to make that decision, I'll go, okay, then I'll make a choice for you. I brought another good news story. And this one I love. It's about a small village in the Netherlands, otherwise known as Holland to some of you, called Hogevik. And in that village, it is filled with people with dementia. And what they worked out, and I've talked about this once before, many years ago, but in another village, but what they did is they realized that putting people with dementia into hospitals is very cruel to them because they don't understand. Why have they got medical people all around them? Are they sick? And those sort of things. Whereas what they found out is if you can keep them in an environment that feels homely, they will actually do much better. And so what they do in these communities now is they just take a whole city block, if you like, or a couple of blocks, and hi Kimmy, and they actually cordon it off, all right, so that the residents can't get out, but they have this whole area that they can live in and thrive in. And so they can go and get coffee. They don't have to pay. They can go down to the coffee shop and go get coffee. They can even go to the grocery store and go get some groceries. They don't have to pay. They can actually take a bicycle ride around the complex. They can do so many things. They can dance. They can do whatever. But what they can't do is get out of the environment and be at risk. And I think that is such a beautiful story. And I don't know about you, but if I had dementia, I would love to be in that situation where I could just do whatever what's left of my mind wanted me to do. So I found this quote from Carl Rogers, and he said, "I've always been better at caring for others than I have been at caring for myself. But in these latter years," he wrote this when he was 75, "but in these latter years, I have made progress." And I would like to say that we all need to continue to make progress. That would be a wonderful thing. Now, we've got enough people in the room now that I think I can go ahead. I want to do a meditation moment. And I just want to make sure that you all know, if you happen to be listening to this on the replay and you happen to be driving a car or something, don't listen to it. Wait until you're home and you need to relax, because I'm about to take everybody into a fairly deep level of relaxation. And if you're listening while you're at work, you may want to rethink that as well. So for the rest of you, I just want to make sure you understand I'm not going to do anything that's controlling you. I'm going to let you control yourself. Oh, that's interesting. Beth is saying that she has made the decision to drop one of her jobs. Well done. It is what you need to do. I quite agree. Well done, Beth. I'm very proud of you. That actually is a wonderful bit of accepting that you are not Superwoman. You're close, but no. And so now what I'm going to do is ask those of you who are in the room at the moment to help me a little bit here. Jody, I'm going to ask you to be aware that I am about to do this meditation. While I do it, I'm not going to be able to answer anybody if they should happen to come in or ask a question or whatever. So I would like it if we could just have Jody be able to answer anything if she can. And is there anybody who doesn't want to do a meditation but would like to just listen to it anyway? Let me know. Because for the rest of you, just be aware you're going to be totally in control. I'm just going to slow my voice down and my voice tone down even more. And I'm going to take you on a magical journey. And I'm going to stop looking at the screen with the comments that are going on. Just know that you can do whatever you need to do. If somebody rings the doorbell or something, you can still answer it if that's what you need to do. If the children disturb you, if you've got children in the house, you can still deal with them. We're just going to lower the whole vibration a little bit. And if you can, in the movie theater of your mind, take a moment and just walk down a path somewhere. Maybe it's a country path. And what I'd like you to do, and if you want to comment on it, that's okay. I want you to think about, what does that path look like? Is it open, or is it covered with a beautiful canopy from trees? Have you got that shade? Is it dark, or is it filtered sunlight? What exactly does that path look like in your movie theater of your mind? And as you're walking down there, what does the air feel like? Is the air warm against your face? Or does it have a little bit of the autumn chill coming to it? And it's really important when you do these sort of meditation moments to stop and feel. Feel what it's like. Is there a breeze or not? Is it still? Maybe it's a bit muggy. And as you're walking down the path, what I would ask you is, what colors do you see? Are the colors bright and summer-like, green grass and colored flowers, or is it a little bit more towards the start of fall? Can you start seeing leaves, the color of fallen leaves, that beautiful autumn color? And be aware when you stop and look around you, exactly how much color there is in your life. It's interesting. Beth is saying she sees a sparkling, clean path. The air smells like fresh flowers. Everybody that she sees says, hello, how are you doing today? No masks, just smiles. I miss seeing smiles. I do too. I miss hugs too. And by the way, as you walk down your path, are you walking alone? Beth obviously is walking down a path with people in it. And maybe you have people coming towards you. Maybe you're walking with people. And now there's a bit of a turn in the path. It just turns slightly. And as you turn, you see somebody that you don't know walking towards you. But they have a big smile on their face, and they're obviously excited to see you. Jody's saying her path is open and it's a sunny day, and the air is fragrant with the scents of autumn. Leaves are crunching on the path. Passing by a rambling farm with sheep and horses grazing, a bunny scampering across our path. Yeah, there's bound to be a bunny in Jody's world. But as this person walks towards you, smiling and obviously happy to see you, be aware when they get close enough to ask them what it is you need to know this week. And maybe the two of you could sit down somewhere on the side of that path, because this person that has come towards you has important information for you. So find a nice, comfortable place to sit. And by the way, what does that look like? Interesting, as I was talking about it, the comfortable place actually was a fallen log. And it's just the right height. And ask that person to sit with you for a second and rest with you. They have been on a long journey themselves. And you might want to ask them how long they've been traveling. And Beth is saying, I see people. I love people now. I am not afraid of people. I truly have changed. Not really changed, but I see with my heart now. No judging, no assuming that I am not important. And Beth is saying, we are never alone, even when we are alone. I agree with you there. And so ask that person what it is they have come to tell you. I just got one word from my person. And, maybe you got more. It was amazing. And before you leave them, just check if they have anything else that they want to share with you today. And then thank them for being there for you today and say goodbye. Because it's time for you to walk back into your present day. Bye. And Jody is saying that the message she got was to stop judging herself, to be healthy, to be at ease. And Jeannie's saying, I'm walking alone down a grassy path behind my burned out home. I see some yellow autumn leaves. There are many bushes and trees. My mother is coming, smiling at me, saying everything will be all right. That is wonderful, Jeannie. I'm so happy. And Jody's saying, I needed that meditation. Thank you, Sal. It's my pleasure, Jody. So, do any of you want to talk a little bit about, do you feel any different for taking those few moments and just relax to that degree? Kimmy, we were just doing a guided meditation. Oh, that's interesting. Rinsky's saying that was great. Thank you, Sal. I was thinking that if you enjoyed that I would include a few moments every week on the Soul Sunday of doing a mini meditation. I quite honestly believe that if you understand how important it is to just stop. I mean, we stopped for a few minutes. It wasn't for very long. All right? It wasn't very long, but does it feel different? Do you feel more peaceful, more at ease? Do you feel like you know what to focus on this week? And by the way, the message that my person gave me was, Sal, relax. And and then when I said, do you have any other insight for me? And I feel a little embarrassed to say this, but the person said, no, you are beautiful. And I went, okay. And it was really not what I expected, quite honestly. So Jeannie is saying, I'm having a cry fest. I've had my head up high for so long, and then my strong, sweet mother came to comfort me. Isn't that beautiful, Jeannie? And I think that is just exactly what you need. And I'm going to send you a special hug. You know, one of the great things that we're learning at DearMamaSal is our greatest challenge every day is to cope with our minds. And I am going to ask you to do something pretty special. What I'm going to ask you to do is to create a feelings journal of some sort. If you already have a day timer, add an extra page in for the week and just keep a note of your feeling. You're going to be surprised once you really allow yourself to be aware of not only how much you beat up on yourself, but also to be aware of how many times you amuse yourself or how many times you are joyful. And, that's what made me bring the rose out today, because I thought, when I passed that by this morning and I looked at it, it is the thumbnail that I used. I took the picture a couple of days ago, but then I actually cut the bud, and now it has totally opened up. And it's amazing how much it has blossomed in just a couple of days. And that to me gave me great joy. And I was saying last night, when I was talking to Jody, that in the middle of doing something, I suddenly shivered. And I realized that the temperature is changing. Right? Just a little bit, just enough that what I was wearing, there was summery, and just for that second, whoa, it was like, yeah, the temperature is starting to change. And the reason I would really encourage you to keep the feelings journal is to make sure that you do not judge yourself. It's just a feeling. It's not good or bad. It's just what you're feeling. If you want to write more, that's fine. But just take a second every now and then and write down what feeling came across you. Beth is saying, my greatest mind challenge today is the fear of failing as a store manager. But it is the fear that is making me want to do better. If I can push through the fear, then I will never feel like a failure. Yes, you remember, Beth, I quote so often Terry Cole Whitaker on the title of a book she wrote called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. You see, fear is just an emotion like love. I'm pretty sure you don't try and get rid of the feeling of love. And Jeannie is saying, York, her husband, mowed the lawn today. And Misty, her dog, came outside for a few minutes and loved being back home. Yeah, I'm sure. And Jody's saying, Sal, I'd like to thank you for something. You pointed out to me quite a while ago that I would be a different person if I treated myself with forgiveness and grace. The forgiveness and grace I extend to others. And yes, it is helping. Jody, it's okay. I understood. Jody's correcting something she said. So some of you will already be feeling the stress of dealing with limited money. But you can choose which way to look at this. It can either be a very stressful time or a very creative time. I know that some of you are going to feel a great deal of stress as you go in, those of you in the United States, and as you go into this political arena that's going on, the last couple of months of it, it's going to get really nasty, isn't it? But we don't have to be involved in it. We don't have to be involved in people being nasty to one another. And, if you am thinking about, if you happen to be in a group of people and they start to, talk about things and get nasty with one another, you have the right in your own circle, your own environment, to say, hey, guys, if you can't speak respectfully to one another, then let's get off that subject and come up with another one. Or maybe you two want to go and take a walk and talk politics, if that's what you want to do. Now, I was talking earlier about the fact that some of us are dealing with the stress of coping with our health. But Jody just said, thank you. Because she realized quite a while ago that she made a choice every day as to how she coped with the incredible challenges that she has. I've had a very difficult week. I made a commitment on Do It Wednesday that during the course of the week, I would totally rearrange one part of my outside covered deck ready for the fall. And that was the day that I managed to do something rather interesting to my knee. I think I have stretched my LCL. I think that's what it is. And just so that you know, in case you don't know what that is, if this is your kneecap and this is your knee, there is a muscle that comes down here. And I think I have stretched that a bit too far. And so after all those months of not being able to walk properly because of my Achilles tendons, I now have a new challenge, which is this knee problem. And then very kindly, one of my neighbors lent me a knee brace, and I used it for a few days and it really did help. But I can look at it two ways. I returned the knee brace once the major pain had gone. And I reminded myself that, yes, I can take painkillers. But, I think the pain is there for a reason. It is telling me to be a little careful this week. You see, I choose not to see it as, oh, it's not fair. I can't, and then I went, what am I going to do about my commitment? I said that I would have that all changed by next week. And I said to myself, two things. One is, if you do it carefully, you can still do it. And the second thing is, if you really think it's too much, I am certain the viewers would give you another week to do it in. In terms of your health, yes, Jody, I agree. Jody's saying your body is asking you to slow down just a little bit and rest so you can heal. Have any of you started any new health habits this week? By the way, for those of you who saw my balance dome that I keep in the door frame between my bedroom and my bathroom, I just wanted to tell you how delighted I am because I can now stand on it without holding on to the sides, and I can actually walk on it. I have created that much balance. By the way, it might be why I did my knee. I don't know. Hi, Jonas. Good to see you. So I can actually do that now, and I think I literally walked on it for like 100 steps today, and that requires that I balance at the same time as walking. But I did start a new habit this week, and that is I know that I need to hydrate more. I am aware of that. And I don't mean just any beverages, I mean water, straight, unadulterated water. And so this week I have started drinking a glass of water when I get up in the morning. Now, the thing that I found was that I have been challenging myself, but this size glass is, I don't know, an 8-ounce glass or something, but I found a 6-ounce glass. And that to me was like, I can easily drink that. And when I say easily drink it, I don't have to think. I think I can do it in 3 or 4 big gulps of water. It's gone. And so I went, better that you start with that than try and force down that much if it's going to be unpleasant for you. Now, the other thing I have a problem with is I sit on a well. My water comes from a well, and it is cold. And so one of the things I have to remember is to fill up my water bottle at night, and so that by the time I want to drink the water, it's at room temperature. So I wondered if any of you have started any new healthier habits. Jody's saying, I take 1 hour a day, 20-minute intervals of meditation, light exercise, listening to music. It's been helping me relax. Yes. I want to say that for those viewers who are busy working on their mental fitness, we have this sort of fitness group of people that are doing things. Some are working on their weight, some are working on their relaxation, some are working on their blood sugar. Different people are working on different things. And it reminded me of something. I was talking to my sister who's in the States, and I said to her, is there any way I can support you with your exercise program at the moment? And she immediately fired back, no, I don't want any competition, and da, 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 da. And I went, no, it's not what I asked you. You see, I just want to know if I can support you in what it is you're trying to do. I'm not in competition with you. I have no interest in being in competition. I'm in competition with myself. All right, Jeannie's saying, I keep 2 bottles full of water in the refrigerator and drink from them daily. Afterwards, I refill them. Yeah, I think my teeth must be pretty sensitive because I can drink cold water at certain times of the day and other times of the day I can't. But that's wonderful. So you go through 2 bottles of water. I have a filtered water thing, and I get through quite a bit every day, I must admit. I'm working and doing more, getting more hydration. So I've added that extra glass of water in the morning, and I try to get, before I eat a meal, I'm trying to make sure I drink another glass of water. And have any of you started any other things to help you cope with your stress this week? Because if you're not helping yourself, who is going to help you? Are you waiting for somebody else to do that? So just bear with me a second. I need to get some of my quotes going here. How about this one? It is time to love yourself, respect yourself, admire yourself, forgive yourself, nurture yourself. Today is the day. I think one of the greatest changes that came about in my life was when I accepted myself for who I actually was, as opposed to that image that I thought I needed to be. It was quite different in lots of ways. The moment you accept yourself, you grow. Have any of you found that? When you stop trying to be what other people wanted you to be. And for me, it was really quite challenging because to me, I've always been somebody with a big mouth and opinions. And I tried so hard, so much of the time to keep my mouth closed and not say things. And now I just say them, and most of the time anyway. How about this quote? You work so hard to fix yourself, but maybe what you need isn't another tactic, another book, another 5-step plan. Maybe you don't need to be fixed. Maybe what's really holding you back is the idea that you need to be fixed. Jeannie's saying that she was trying to get a dinner plate out and broke it. And it wasn't even hers, but part of what the insurance company supplies, with the apartment that they gave her. At first, I was so upset, and then I relaxed and said, it's only a plate. Yeah. And you know something? I'm pretty sure that's called wear and tear. It's like, that's an insurance company, right? Steve Maraboli, who we quote quite often, said, "When you accept yourself, you are freed from the burden of needing others to accept you. Don't allow anyone or anything to control, limit, repress, or discourage you from being your true self." Beth is saying, my first thought would be on happy my dinner wasn't already on the plate. Yes, that when you dropped the plate, you were glad that you didn't have dinner on it. I quite agree. That's a nice way of looking at it. And Jeannie's saying she had a happy occasion, a virtual bar mitzvah. Yeah, that's a first, I'm sure. I think we're going to have lots of firsts like that. How about this one, everybody? Accept the past with no regrets. Handle your present with confidence. And face your future with no fear. Beth, this is for you. I'm going to read it again. Accept your past with no regrets. Handle your present with confidence. And face your future with no fear. Beth, I'd like to say that even on a bad day, you are probably a better manager than your company ever expected to find. Your work ethic, your get it done attitude, your Energizer Bunny, just all of the things. So it's not about a fear of failure for you. Wasn't it in a beautiful quote from Nelson Mandela once? And I haven't got it here. But he said that, maybe our greatest fear is not a failing, but maybe our greatest fear is how great we could be. Does that ring true in any way, Beth? Are you at some level scared of how good you could actually be? I think I said to you very early on that you would probably end up being regional manager if that's what you wanted. Right? Just, I know enough about you and your work ethic and your ability to get quotas and do things. I knew that all those things add up to management. Jeannie's saying, my daughter was the nanny for the 3 kids in the family. Andrew has ADHD, did a wonderful job reading and memorizing the ceremony. It was wonderful. Isn't that great? And a virtual choir as well. Isn't that beautiful, Jeannie? I am certain that brought lots of smiles to you. And by the way, Beth is saying, exactly. Yes. I know you pretty well, Beth. Now, how about this one? When you accept yourself, the world accepts you. I actually make a joke of who I am now when I'm talking to the neighbors. I will say things like, well, you didn't ask for my opinion, but you know me well enough to know you're going to get it anyway. I just, and they all laugh and go, yep. Beth says, I can strive to be the best. That's who I am. Just had to learn that it's not competition. I will be a winner just by doing my best. Yes, Beth. I agree. You don't have to be in competition with anybody else. You're always in competition with yourself. Now, Robert Holden asked this incredible question. Listen up, people. Robert Holden said, no amount of self-improvement can make up for any lack of self-acceptance. Does that make sense? If you cannot accept yourself, how can you improve yourself? And Dr. Bill Jackson said, to find a good life, you must become yourself. And how many of you wake up every day saying, it's a new day? Who am I today? What do I choose to do today? Because whatever I didn't do yesterday, that's long gone. And whatever's still on the list for tomorrow, I may never get to it because I may not make it tomorrow. So what am I going to do today? And one of the things that I realized to my horror is that I can end up taking so many notes during a day. My mind is like, There are times when it's like, a casino one-armed bandit. And, I have to stop it. It comes up with so many ideas every day. And I have to stop it and go, I thank you. I keep taking notes, but, my list of notes gets bigger and bigger. And one of the things that I found that's helping me quite a bit is, do any of you use Google's Jamboard, Jamboard? The reason I ask that is because I found that's quite a useful thing to have open in my tabs, because I'll be working on trying to find one thing, and my mind will start feeding me answers to something I was trying to do 2 days ago. I don't know if any of you relate to this. And so what I have to do is quickly go to the Jamboard and write those things down, because I'm of an age where if I don't, I will forget them by the time I want them again. Yes, Jeannie's saying, being older, I have stopped being in most competitions. Yes, I agree. Part of the real me is stopping the coloring of my hair. It's now quite white, not gray in places. Yes, I want to tell you something. It was one of the greatest things I did for myself, Jeannie, I waited until it was white to about here, because it sort of does it this way. And I think it's still got darker bits underneath here. Can you see those? But I waited until, actually it's still getting pretty white there now. But till it was pretty white, and then I stopped. And it's the best thing I did for my hair and for me, because I actually like my hair color now. And the other good thing was I stopped going to a salon to cut my hair, because I noticed that they always cut my hair in what I call a little old lady cut. You know what I mean? I'm surprised they didn't color it purple and put a perm in it. And what I did is I went, if I don't want my hair cut like that, why don't I cut my hair the way I want it? And I started to do that. And you know something? I'm really happy with my hair now. Beth's saying usually, oh, wait a minute. Jody's saying, I found great stress relief in only being in competition with myself. I'm so over comparing myself to others. Yeah. I still do it every now and then, though, Jody. I'm not perfect. I've got to be quite honest with you. I sit here and I look at my house and go, how do tidy people do that? And I'll beat up on myself a bit and I go, Sal, they concentrate on it more than you do. They focus on being tidy. That's how they do it, Sal. They spend more time doing it than you do. You're always doing something else for Dear Mama Sal, or you're doing something else, so really you've got to either spend the time, but if you spend the time, what are you going to give up doing? So Beth is saying, usually I wake up positive, looking forward to my coffee and my plan for the day. Today I woke up and went to start coffee and realized that I was out of creamer. Wow, that's interesting. You and Jody both. It almost ruined my day. Yeah. And that is why we are stocking up our pantries, Beth. I am trying to make sure I have at least, it's a bit like the royal family, you know, they have to produce an heir and a spare, right? So when I go to my pantry, I go, do I have an heir? That's the next in line, and a spare. Will that help you, Beth? And if I haven't got an heir and a spare, then it goes on my shopping list. So how about this one? To be beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You need to accept yourself. Jody likes the air in a spare. But you know something, Jody? When I work on that system, I, I know I'm not going to run out of anything very important. Jeannie's saying, I saw that coffee beans were at a minimum, so I bought York more beans. You know how I do my coffee buying. I know this will sound really strange for some of you, but the first, if I notice that there is a generic type coffee that is on sale, think about that. You know, I can get coffee at a really good price, but then what I do is I buy a packet of really good coffee and I mix it in with it. And that way I get a really nice tasting coffee for half the price, just about. Now, also, if I have visitors, I can just serve the very good coffee, but for my everyday coffee. Janine Roth said, "You are not a mistake. You are not a problem to be solved. But you won't discover this until you are willing to stop banging your head against the wall of shaming and caging and fearful of yourself." You know, we were doing a broadcast last week, right, about shame and guilt. Anna Taylor said, love yourself enough to set boundaries. Your time and energy are precious. You get to choose how you use it. You teach people how to treat you by deciding what you will and will not accept. You know, it was really interesting. I sent out I've now got the emails of my sort of local neighbors. Now I've got an email list of who they are. And I've got that because of the group get-togethers. And I just decided, you know, I like baking bread. It brings me great pleasure. And so why don't I just, once a week, bake extra for those that might like some? And it was interesting because I sent out this email and it just said, I'm going to be baking bread today, Sunday. If anybody'd like some, let me know. And immediately one of my neighbors said, put me on that list, which is good. And they immediately invited me for dinner. Isn't that interesting? So I'm going to dinner with them tomorrow night. And then one of my other neighbors wrote to me and said, Can you get it to Alberta? Because I forgot that they'd gone to Alberta to go to a wedding. And I said, I wrote back and said, no, I totally forgot that. How about next week? Okay, so York is a coffee snob. That's what Gene is telling me. He has tried so many brands and then decided on one. Well, this is the whole thing. There are certain things that I want to tell you something, Jeannie. I was a coffee snob too. But I found that I don't have to be such a coffee snob. I can, just have really good coffee every now and then. But the rest of the time, I'm happy with my mix. And that allows me to spend money on good cheese. You know what I mean? It's just like when you're dealing with a limited budget, you make compromises. All right, so Kimmy's saying, the more I tell people not to treat me with disrespect, the worse they treat you. Yeah, do you want to know why, Kimmy? Did I explain that to you? Hi, Nasha. Good to see you. Kimmy, let me know if you'd like me to explain what I believe is happening. Okay. So, Kimmy, think about how you said that the more I tell people not to treat me with disrespect, the worse they treat me. You remember I said to you a long time ago, Kimmy, if you push people, they push back. Right? So the trick is not to push them. What you do is you can only control yourself. You cannot control other people, Kimmy. So when they treat you with disrespect, what you say is, gosh, I am really sorry. I find that a bit disrespectful. So I need to walk away now. Or I need to just take a break for a little while, be that a week or whatever it is. Not tell them to change. No. If you tell people to change, Kim, they will fight back. Does that make sense, honey? I want to tell you, I totally understand it. I was thinking about, for example, Bernice, who is learning how to deal with not being able to have sugar in her life when she spent, like I was, spent a lifetime eating sugar, and suddenly she's been told to cut back. And the interesting thing is, as soon as she hears she can't have sugar, right, she's going to be doing this on this side. Does that make sense, Kimmy? Because none of us want to be told what we don't want to hear. None of us want to be told what we don't want to hear. If you notice, and I've said this many times during your experience, if I feel that I need to tell somebody a truth, I will ask for permission. All right? I will go, is it okay if I hit you with a 2x4 right now? And Jody is saying, it's like demanding an apology from somebody. It doesn't work. No. And so it's not about their behavior. You see, setting a boundary is not about changing them. Setting a boundary says, if you do this, I walk away. Right? I don't stand here and take it. I walk away. That is the difference. But Kimmy, thank you for talking about it, because I am certain a lot of people relate to what you're saying. You cannot demand anybody treat you with respect. Can't do it. You just don't have to stay there in that environment. If it just isn't what you have to do. I wonder if that makes sense. Shannon Abels says, what self-acceptance does is open up more possibilities of succeeding, because you aren't fighting yourself along the way. Oh, interesting. Kimmy's saying, I did walk away recently. Well done. How did it feel, Kim? Probably sad that you couldn't change them, right? But people don't want to change. They fight it a lot. And we all understand that. We're the same, right? When somebody says that we need to change, it's like we don't want to hear that. I listen to the way that Bernice is reacting, to the restrictions on her sugar intake. And, I'm remembering what it was like for me over a year ago before Jody taught me a new way of living. And, it's like I'm still, as you know, pushing that envelope all the time to find out if I can get here, can I just add this back in? No. Why? I see the numbers. No, that doesn't work. But can I do this? Yes. I think one of the greatest delights I had was to find out that mixing 50% flour with 50% almond flour makes a really okay batter to make crepes with. And now I found out that I can make, crepes at night and eat them, 3 of them, without major spikes in my blood glucose. Now that is purely, I want to have crepes. What do I have to do to be able to have them? You know me. I will keep experimenting until I find out, and I did. You don't need to be accepted by others. You need to accept yourself. Let me ask you something. How many of you are quite happy to accept your good bits? Right? Are you equally willing to accept your not so good bits? People will say things to me like, you're such a nice person. And I'll go, have you met my bitch from hell? She comes out every now and then. I recommend you don't do, these things. If you do any of these things, she comes to visit. You won't like her nearly as much. But you see, I acknowledge that I have her, that she's part of my life. But I also acknowledge she only comes out when you betray me, duplicitous, da-da-da-da-da. That's the only time I can't control her. Kim is saying my middle daughter wanted money and I told her I didn't have any. She got mad and said you were never here for me. Yeah, that's manipulation. Okay. I have been in the past, but because of circumstances, I have to step back. Yeah. Your middle daughter's an adult, right? Jeannie's saying, it's like being allergic to something, but having it anyway. I have an EpiPen in my bag every time I go anywhere. Yes, it's like I'm got a garlic allergy. I don't like it. And I say to people, hey, I love garlic. My body doesn't. I personally love it. But, for some reason, when I went into menopause, my body said, no more. And so to me, it's like when I can accept my bad bits as willingly as my good bits. How many of you can do that? How many of you can own your bad stuff? Let's see, it's like, and how many of you can even find that your not so good stuff quite amusing? You see, when you can do that, then you have grown. When you only want people to see your good side, you're not accepting yourself. So I make sure that when people meet me, they'll say, you've got such a great sense of humor. And I said, yep, until I use it accidentally, with a one-liner that hurts you, then you won't think it's so good. And they're going, what? And I said, what I found out was, these one-liners, I don't think about them. They come from somewhere deep in my mind and they, come out and everybody laughs. Yeah. But something, every now and then one of those comes out and it's not so nice. So if I accidentally do that, no, I didn't mean to hurt. Niash is saying, Kimmy, before Mama Sal, I used to allow others to manipulate me because I was afraid of offending them and they wouldn't appreciate me anymore. But now that I know people don't have to like me. Yeah, well done, Niasha. Jody's saying, I can accept my many flaws more and more so as every year passes. Yeah, it's just like, I've got a good side and a bad side. And Niasha's saying, I'm no longer allowing anyone to take advantage. Well, I think occasionally it'll still happen, but as long as you're improving on it, that's fine. Remember, you don't have to be perfect, Niasha. It's a journey of constant improvement. That's what we do here. And by the way, I'd like to thank all of you in the room again, because you understand just by being here, you are helping to improve people. One of the things that always amazes me when I look at things sometimes is I will put something up on Facebook or something and I will see likes and hearts and all sorts of things. And I'll just put my cursor along there every now and then. And I look at the names of the people who've sent those hearts or the thumbs up or whatever. And what I find interesting is how many names I don't recognize at all. And yet they gave a thumbs up or they gave whatever. And I go, wow, you see, these are people that must be watching and listening that I don't even know that they exist until I hover my cursor. And I make sure that when I do that, I know this might sound strange, but I go, nice to meet you. And thank you for bothering to give me a thumbs up here. I appreciate that. And Jeannie's saying, my husband and I learned how to deal with teenagers who pushed normal limits. We keep remembering those skills. Yes. It is really interesting that we all have to learn those skills. And I kept saying, I can remember one teenager complaining to me, well, my parents don't allow me to do X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, it is their house. They get to make the rules. So if you want to make your own rules, you need to grow up, earn a living, and move out. Jeannie's saying, we went to a group for over a year and everyone suffered from the same thing. Yeah, I can imagine. And to me, it's like, if you don't like the rules, don't live in the house. Leah Biscavalier said, love yourself, accept yourself, and forgive yourself. And be good to yourself. Because without you, the rest of us are without a source of many wonderful things. So take a moment, people. You know who's in the room. Does anybody want to thank any of the viewers that are in the room right now? Or maybe ones that aren't? Do you want to just drop a bouquet of some sort and thank them for something they have done to help you or something they have done to support you? This will be a great time to do it. You see, we want to make sure that they know that being here, being part of Dear Mama Sal, has helped you in some way. And it's really interesting to take the time to do that. I found that not many people don't like to hear that they've done something good. Right? It's just like, take the time every day. Even if people aren't telling you that you've done anything good, take the time to tell others and do it willingly and with a good heart. I make a point of writing at least one email a day to thank somebody for their contribution in my life in some way. Do any of you do that? Or I will text somebody and just remind them why they are so special to me. Niesha saying, I am more conscious and careful of what is happening around me. I'm constantly listening out for the manipulations now. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, Niesha? Once you understand them, it's amazing how you can hear them coming at you and just go, whoa, I need to leave the room right now, or whatever. Jeannie's saying, thanks to the DearMamaSal people who helped us after the fire, your support helped so much. Yes, and I agree, Jeannie, that that we all need those moments. One of the things about living life, it's a bit like we have good points and bad points. One of the things about being human, a human being, not a human doing, is you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. And other people in the group are going to have good days and bad days. And Jeannie's saying, Sal's be prepared, not scared, helped me so much. Well, you know something? I want to tell you that came to me in a moment. And as I said it, I thought, oh, that's good stuff. I definitely need to write that down, because I use it all the time to myself. It's like I know Jody is constantly going to look at her pantry and go, do I have an heir and a spare? You see, it's those little things that we do that help support us so much. Jody's saying, Lionel and I thank everybody for their support when he lost his father in March. And I thank everyone that has taken the time to message me and check out on my health and my spirits. I am grateful to you all. Yeah, Jody's saying, be prepared, not scared, is the quote of a lifetime. Wow. Thank you. Yes, and Kimmy's saying, I think I've gotten stronger and more confident from everyone. And you will continue to, Kimmy. Don't give up on yourself. Don't try and waste your time changing other people. They're not going to change unless they want to. Jody's saying, you're right. I'll never not say heir and a spare. When you know yourself, when you are then empowered, when you accept yourself, you are invincible. Niash is saying, very true, because the situation with my previous boss, it tried to happen again, but this time I was more conscious in seeing, and I'd be at fault this entire time. So I stopped myself. Yeah, it's right, because you were about to fall into the same trap. And you realize it's nobody's business but yours, Niasha. I am so happy. And I heard from Lauren that she managed to help you out with your problem the other day. So I was happy to hear that. How about this one? Roy T. Bennett said, accept yourself, love yourself, and keep moving forward. If you want to fly, you have to give up what weighs you down. So take a second, get really honest with yourself. What is weighing you down this week? Because whatever it is, that's where you need to either let it go or spend a bit more time. That's what I found. When I have this thing that I always remind myself, when my house starts to look a mess, it means that I need to rest and then focus, because I find that my house is a reflection of my mind. Do any of you find that? And I'd far rather do certain things than tidy up, I got to tell you. But I need to focus. However, I give myself a big pat on the back for the incredible job I did in my bedroom this week. because that was a major problem that needed to be fixed after dropping my bed down an air vent. And, I did it, and I did it carefully. And I did it with a knee that was hurting, but I did it so carefully. I was so proud of myself. Yes, and Yash was saying, I've learned to deflect the situation by saying these tips from you. I would have fallen back into the same trap. So sad, but I got out, thankfully. You see, Nyasha, one step at a time. All right? You remember when you kept saying to me, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? And I said, keep coming, keep learning. Because just bit by bit, you will start improving how you look after yourself. And I want to tell you, you've come from childlike thinking into pretty adult thinking in a very short space of time. Wow, Kim is saying they moved the snow to Monday and Tuesday. So I've been trying to get everything picked up and covered. You're expecting snow already? Yikes. Jeannie's saying the same thing. The state of my home reflects my mind. Yeah, I found that. So the other thing is, if I don't concentrate on that, then the crud, the stuff that's untidy will start to affect my mind in a negative way. Mark Twain said that the worst loneliness is not being comfortable with yourself. I was a real party animal. Some of you will probably not be surprised to hear that. When I think about it, for so much of my life, my happiness revolved around other people, external. And it was amazing. That was also the time that I suffered from depression, situational depression a lot. But the interesting thing is, once I learned how not to be depressed anymore, I also found I didn't need that external as much. It was an interesting change in me. Steve Pavlina, I don't think we've heard from him before, said, I learned that accepting others and accepting myself are two sides of the same coin. You cannot love and accept yourself without doing the same for others. So how about that, people? Have you found that at all? That when you learn self-acceptance, you also became much more accepting of other people. Wow, listen to this. Kimmy saying, yes, it is 81 degrees Fahrenheit here now, and it will be dropping into the 20s Monday and Tuesday. And on Thursday, back to the 70s and 80s again. I don't want to live where you're living. It's like, can you imagine what that's going to do to people's health? Okay, so here we go. For those of you wondering, how do I get to accept myself? The first step to accepting yourself is to stop comparing yourself to others. Johnny Depp said, I think everybody is weird. We should all celebrate our individuality and not be embarrassed or ashamed of it. What do you think? And now this quote says that confidence comes with maturity and being more accepting of yourself. You know, it was interesting to me that I guess I learned very early on in my life that, that acting as if was a really good way to do things. For example, when I first wanted to be a professional speaker, I acted as if I was already one. And, it was just like, I that's how I did things. If I went for a job interview, I would presume that I was more than worthy of the job. And I would talk that way. And so self-confidence is a really interesting thing. I was saying, funny enough, to Benji, I was talking to Benji about something recently. And what I said to him, because he made a comment about something, and I said, yes, the one thing I tell people, if they don't already know, is if you want to be a YouTuber, you better have a very thick skin. In fact, a skin like a rhinoceros would do you well. Because I know that you've all seen this, that people with social media can be wickedly cruel. And Kimmy's saying, I am so scared to speak in front of a lot of people. I am, there's part of me that chuckles, Kimmy, thank goodness. Because the reason I used to get paid what I got paid is because so many people are so scared to talk in front of people. And let me tell you something from my experience, Kimmy. Talking to 7,000 people, in a way, is easier than talking to 6. Can any of you believe that? I used to say, if I stand up in front of 7,000 people, you imagine how many people are going to end up liking me, right? You do the math, right? If you're talking to 6 people, it's only 1 or 2, maybe if you're lucky, half, or maybe a bit more if you're really good, right? But you multiply that into the 7,000 area, so many people are going to be smiling when they look at you. That's what I found. Nia's just saying, I can't believe that I can now see their tactics. I don't know what it is, but I think I've got an approachable and manipulative outlook because other co-workers asked about my foot issues. Okay, I've got to wait for the rest of that bit of typing to happen. Louise Hayes said, you've been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Yeah, Jeannie's saying, I never had a problem talking to a huge group, but I know that some who do. I want to tell you something. I always said to people that it was wrong to think that I never was fearful about talking to large, to groups of people, because, so many people would say to me, I'd love to do what you do, but I'm so scared. And I said, I do this from the stage. I said, if you'd like to come up here and feel my armpits right now, be my guest. Because I don't care how many times I speak. There is always that element of fear. There is always that little bit of what if they don't like me? But as I said, it's not about not having those butterflies. It's getting those butterflies to fly in formation. And maybe that is part of it all, is to accept that some people are not going to like you. And that's okay. You see, I think that is the same. The reason why people don't want to speak in public is because they're terrified people won't like them or will make fun of them or think you're stupid or whatever. But you see, I know people are going to think like that, and I'm okay with that now. Does that make sense? Kimmy's saying, I remember my graduation. They pushed me onto the stage. And I thought you were going to have to walk across the stage to get your diploma. There's no turning back. Yes, so what were you fearful of? That's the interesting question, Kimmy. If you'd like to share it, you don't have to. What was it that you were fearful of? So here is the reality of life. If you cannot accept yourself as you are, with good and bad, then why should anybody else accept you? If you spend your life telling other people how to improve but are not prepared to improve yourself, why would anybody listen? None of us like to be judged. None of us like to be told how we need to change. Yes, Nyasha saying, it's entirely freeing when you allow others to think whatever they wish of you. Good one, Nyasha. And Kimmy's saying, and that's so sad to read, Kimmy, I've been told to shut up when I was in college class by a woman, said my voice was annoying. How old were you when that happened? And quite honestly, that was her judgment. Doesn't mean it's true. You were in your 30s when that happened. And this one person has had that much impact on your life. Wow, let it go, Kimmy, if you can. That was just her opinion. Not everybody's opinion, just hers. You gave her a lot of space in your mind. So, it is really okay, Kimmy. That's all part of the growing. It's to see that I gave this person power this many years ago, but I've decided I don't want to give them that power anymore. I'm going to let it go. I can remember a speaker's agent telling me not to give up my day job. I didn't listen. I just went ahead and became a speaker. I found it very motivating that they said that. That rebel in me went, I'm going to show you you're wrong. So one of the things I implore you all to do is have a look, not only at your good stuff, but also your not so good stuff. And know that is all together in that big cake of life. That is what makes you who you are, good and bad. It's not just your good stuff. And what I want you to know is when you can accept you don't have to be perfect. And when I can accept that I don't have to change anybody else. In fact, the less I try to change others, the happier I will be. That's growth. The less I try to change others, the happier I will be. And that is called accepting other people for who they are, the way that we would like to be accepted for who we are. This is DearMamaSal saying, you are a wonderful person that is constantly growing and improving. And so as usual, I'm going to say to you, please remember to look after one another because that's what we do here. But boy, please, please, please remember to look after yourself. And the same way that you are so accepting of the viewers, please remember to be equally accepting of yourself. And every now and then a viewer is going to upset you, and you're going to go, oh, I don't like that person because da 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 da. Remember that we are annoying to other people as well, and that is okay. So this is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you. Thank you for accepting me for who I am, good and bad. Thank you for understanding that together we make a great team. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, have a wonderful week of self-acceptance. Keep a journal of your feelings because we're going to be talking more about them every week. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, bye-bye for now.